Hello everyone, and welcome to another awesome video on making fun stuff in Mari's node graph. Today we're going to be having our first look at making procedural smart masks. Procedural masks rely on information from baked maps, 3D or UV space, or the surface of the geometry itself to determine the value of the mask rather than hand painting. And Mari gives you a lot of tools to help set up your own procedural smart masks. Today we're going to be looking at a top-down mask, sometimes referred to as a dust or snow mask. Gravity makes things fall down. Those things often land on the top-facing surfaces of an object and tend to collect over time, so it makes sense for us to try to isolate those upward-facing geometries. Mari ships with a node called Surface Normal that can help us do exactly that. Surface Normal displays the up-facing geo in green and the front and sides in blue and red. We can shuffle out the green channel to isolate it from the rest, and we can multiply and mix in different grunge maps on top depending on the desired effect. Let's see how it works. So here I have my lovely shader cube with many a flat surface to collect some falling dust. I'll create a surface normal, and we can see our upward facing geo in green. The first thing we need to do is normalize the values. On screen it looks like we have green on one side and black on the other, but in fact if we use our handy color picker, we can see it goes into the negative values, -1 for each color to be precise. We want our mask to stay within 0 to 1, nothing below or above that range. So the magic math is to add 1 and divide by 2. The old range was -1 to 1. Adding 1 made the range 0 to 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So now the range is 0 to 1. Math is really confusing to explain, so in the highly likely event that that made no sense at all, just have a little faith and let's move on to isolating the green channel. I'll create a shuffle node by hitting tab, typing shuffle, and boom. What this classic nuke node does is replace a given channel with information from another. I set the output red and blue channels to match the input green, and the output turns white in what were previously green areas, and everything else turns black. Now we have white on top, gray on the sides, and black on bottom. I'll just add a levels node to crush the grays away a little bit. I always like to clamp my levels node to prevent any weirdness, and I'll set mid-gray to 1, so anything below that turns black. And we have our top-facing geometry isolated. Before we go any farther, I'm going to group this where we are and expose these level parameters. I'll name the levels node falloff to create that label in the properties window, and I'll expose the white, mid, and black points. Now we can play with the falloff of that top-facing geo mask in the gizmo properties. Alright, let's take this a step further by adding some nice dusty grunge breakup. I've got these two lovely grunge masks I've loaded up from the Mari extension pack grunge map collection, and I'll start by jumping into the gizmo and adding inputs for texture 1 and 2. Next, I'll create some merge nodes to combine the texture with the top-down mask. The first I'm going to set to multiply, and the second I'll set to overlay. And after naming each merge node, I'll expose the blend mode and amount for some extra control in the gizmo properties. Now I just plug in my grunge textures, and boom, some awesome dust scattered on top of my shader cube. I can control the falloff and the blending of the two grunge maps together. Let's export this awesome gizmo to My Documents Mari Gizmos folder, and on the next launch of Mari, it's going to show up in the node menu. Now, this was a very simple example of a very powerful tool. The next video is going to be a bit of a bonus to this, where I show you how to combine some normal detail with your top-down mask. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I will see you next time.